And I want you to just sit back and imagine what the student that you have is experiencing. So, Rob Howard is the founder of EFL Talks and your host today. So, I'll give myself 10 minutes and we'll get started. Um, Talking about, learning under low resources. I'm here in Poland right now. I spent many years in Brazil. I teach online all over the world. I travel a lot. I meet a lot of teachers. I meet a lot of trainers. I get to see a lot of classes, and I get to see a lot online. And one of the things that I think is been a low resource in some countries is the teacher's level. Number one, their level of English. Number two, their level of expertise. And I think this is unfair to a lot of our students because students come to us and they expect an expert, they expect to learn, and they expect what they're going to learn is correct. Now, I see things on YouTube, I see things online on Facebook all the time, which we'll talk about a little bit more. But for example, in Brazil, 85% of the teachers have a B2 level or lower. And it's not surprising then when the fluency rate, which just was released last week, is 3% of the country speaks fluently, when the teachers, only 15%, speak above a B2 level. Now, an interesting fact came out the other day that 3% speak English fluently, 5% speak English, 7% of Brazilians, that's 11 million people, believe that the earth is still flat. Interesting. So teacher level is something that I think we really need to work on, and we need to help teachers improve with their level of English. Now, the other problem is the content that they're using. One thing that I find with going to all these different conferences, taking part in listening to a lot of webinars, is over the past few years, we've made teachers' personal issues into the subject matter and topic of English classes. Right now, the hot topic is our carbon footprint. Last year, diversity, inclusion. The year before that, it was native, non-native, and this goes on and on. We've had bullying, and people are so insistent of putting social issues into the English teaching classroom that we don't teach what students are coming to us for. They come to learn nouns, verbs, grammar, adjectives, communication. I have never had a single student come to me and say, will you teach me inclusion, diversity, bullying? And I think we need to get back to teaching English. That's what our students come to us for. Business English. Some of you that know me may be aware I'm involved with the IHFL BSIG, the Business English Special Interest Group. I started a BSIG in Brazil, and I help out with the one here in Poland. And business English, I think, is taken too lightly by many teachers. Many teachers are saying, I'm a business English teacher, when they really have no idea what's involved with being a business English teacher. if you hear some of my other talks, you have to distinguish, are you a teacher of English in a business or an actual business English teacher? And business English teaching takes specific knowledge. You need to know something about business. You need to know the terminology. You have to have a higher level of vocabulary and a different vocabulary to properly teach business English. Press play courses. You'll see these online all the time. I really am not a big fan of press play courses. And these are the Moodle MOOCs that you see, and everything where you go in, you pay a lot of money, you press play, you get the course delivered to you, and maybe there's some feedback and interaction within the course. It's not the way to learn English. You need a teacher. You need a course. And I think we as teachers need to be worried about these press play courses and really let our students know that they're not going to succeed with this, because AI is coming down the road and it's much cheaper than we are as teachers. We're so expensive, we make so much money. Press play courses. Teaching online. Now, I do teach online. I teach one-to-one. And this is acceptable. Small groups. I've done small conversation groups, specific groups for online, but I do it live, interactive. And online is great. Suddenly the borders are gone. But there's a lot of courses that are being taught online now, which is simply recordings. And they just don't seem to be effective. Students aren't learning. Social media. You see all the time on Facebook. You'll see it on YouTube. You'll see it on Instagram now. People are trying to become rock stars. They're not being English teachers. Now, I have a group where we do posts all the time with one or two short things. A short, quick post to teach. Maybe it's an idiom, maybe it's grammar. These are fine. But if you go through Instagram, 5 minutes of somebody to teach one phrase. And if you go to Brazilian sites, which I follow a lot, people are talking for 10 minutes in Portuguese to give one idiom. How is somebody going to learn English this way? It doesn't work. YouTube, same thing. You'll see YouTube videos. Now, there's some great ones out there. People that do large collections, they're constantly recording and adding videos. So they'll have a video of the day, short segments that talk about the English and teach English. Boxed courses. I don't know, I don't see very many still around, but you can buy it. A funny story is, when I originally moved to Brazil, I bought a box course of how to learn Portuguese, and it was on a DVD, and I started studying, and when I started talking, people said to me, "What are you learning from?" It turns out I was learning Portuguese from Portugal and not from Brazil. Pronunciation was horrible. And you know what? I really didn't learn much. I learned more being on the street and talking with people. So, what I'm hoping for is, as teachers, help other teachers, bring their level of English up, teach them how to teach. This is the whole idea behind EFL Talks, is teachers teaching teachers and getting back to teaching English and exactly what our students need. So, with 17 seconds left, this was my talk. And thanks for listening to me rant and rave.